Ever since Bungie stopped making Halo games, with Reach being their last one, the Halo series has been in a constant freefall, turning into the Sonic the Hedgehog of shooters. Now, while 343 Industries initially showed some promise with the much requested Halo Reach title update happening, everything after that has been not so great. Halo Anniversary was a much demanded fan remake, but it lacked Halo 1's well-known multiplayer. The multiplayer was instead just a custom game type for Reach that could be played on a few maps, and in fact you could even buy it as DLC on Reach. 343 Industries used a few excuses to try to justify it not being there, but those excuses would be busted later on, and it also made little sense considering how Halo Anniversary was based off the PC version of Halo 1 and not the Xbox version. Halo 4, on the other hand, was a disaster. It alienated many Halo fans, ended up getting Halo dropped from MLG, and the player count of the game dropped not long after it came out. And it also ended up being associated with a very infamous internet controversy that involved game reviewers and a certain marketing campaign.
Yes! Now drink that, dude!
Advance your Spartan's career in Halo 4 with double XP under every cap of Mountain Dew. Enter codes at dewxp.com.
Now, the Halo Master Chief Collection, on the other hand, was where fan support for 343 really went down the toilet. It's possibly one of the most broken games I've ever seen, especially when it first came out. And when it first came out, multiplayer flat out didn't work. It was worse than Battlefield 4, though, because it took a while for them to fix it. You'd be lucky if you could even get into a match, and by the time the game got fixed enough to the point where you could join a game, the matches were played with lag and quitters. Now, 343, in their infinite wisdom, instead of deciding to take a hint from, every other Xbox or PlayStation shooter last generation or this generation letting people join games in progress, they decided to actually try penalizing players for quitting. Yeah, like that totally stopped people from quitting in Reach, am I right? Even now, after various patches, the Halo Master Chief Collection lacks features that the original games had, such as ping counters and emblems. Many matches are hosted on peer-to-peer connections instead of dedicated servers, like were promised. And similar to Halo 2's PC port, sometimes weird glitches happen that were never there on the 360 or original Xbox versions. However, there are plenty of videos on the same exact topic that could go in depth about this a lot more than I can, and a lot of websites talking about it too. So in my description, I'm going to post a few links about the Master Chief Collection problems, so everybody can remember this before they go out and buy Halo 5. Now, thankfully, I'm not stupid, and after the disaster the Master Chief Collection was, I decided to go on over to my family video and just rent Halo 5 Guardians instead. Now, I did see something unusual on the box, and that was a T rating. I was wondering why it was T rated, and then I remembered they were likely going for kids this time around. After all, there are plenty of kids whose parents won't buy them M-rated video games or let them drink Mountain Dew on school nights. So now that I have a copy of this game rented, it's time to review it. But first, let me give a disclaimer. This review mostly focuses on Halo 5 from a multiplayer gamer's perspective. Now, Halo 4's campaign didn't interest me whatsoever, and I'm not the biggest fan of campaigns in shooters designed around multiplayer in general. Now, the first problem that this game has is that the game takes a long time to install. While many Xbox One and PlayStation 4 games, including the Master Chief Collection, can install part of the game before being ready to play and letting you play, say, only the campaign or multiplayer depending on the game, Halo 5 requires you to install the complete game to your system, which can take quite a while. You can't even boot the game up and play one mode or the other like many Xbox One games. You have to install the complete game to your console. No ifs, and, or buts. Now let's talk about the game itself. Halo 5 Guardians is the newest installment in the long-running Halo franchise that has spanned several console generations and has various games and several spin-offs in it, including Halo Wars, Spartan Assault, and Halo 3 ODST. Now, at one point, Halo was a well-known brand, and a reason that you would go out and buy an Xbox, and many other console shooters were even hyped up as Halo killers, in the sense that they were going to be so big, they would eventually kill Halo. Now, that happened in 2007, but anyways, It was at one point a huge game that everybody wanted to be like. Halo, however, has lately suffered from being a Me Too game. Ever since they started adding the sprint button in loadouts with Halo 4, Halo has gotten closer and closer to being Call of Duty for that kid who says Call of Duty is the worst game ever in class to be hip and trendy. Now currently the new trend in shooters is the futuristic shooter. Games such as Call of Duty Advanced Warfare feel a lot different from earlier shooters due to the fact that they combine elements of Call of Duty's gameplay with features from arena shooters such as fast-paced gameplay and new movement features such as dashing sideways and double jumping. They also usually have a futuristic sci-fi setting which allows them to take far more artistic liberties than they could have if they kept the game in a modern day setting trying to base everything off real-world weapons and vehicles. I mean, after all, that's what many sci-fi movies and video games did, was they'd use the science fiction setting so many years in the future to pull off stuff that they couldn't have if they stayed in the present day. Now, Halo 5 tries to emulate these features, featuring a new movement system, which in gameplay footage could look just like that of Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and the trailers even presented it the same way. Now, despite this, however, the game has a far lower stamina bar for boosting, and you have to wait before you can use another move, slowing the game down so your parents can easily play it when you have to hand them a controller so you don't get banned for quitting. In other words, it feels more like an armor ability out of reach than a new movement system. Sprint also makes a return despite it being a very controversial part of Halo 4. The game also features new features. For example, remember in older Halos where you had to memorize where the weapons were at? Well, now you have timers right there on your HUD, so you know where to fight for that power weapon. And power weapons are stuff like the sniper rifle and rocket launcher, because, you know, the sniper rifle is a super overpowered kill-everything gun for kids, am I right? Now, it's perfect for casuals who've never played a Halo game before and have to find the weapon. The game also allows you to zoom in on any weapon, with some weapons such as the pistol even aiming down sights, just like Call of Duty, while other weapons just zoom in on the weapons similar to older shooters which had aim down sights, and others just scope in. Older Halo games, on the other hand, restricted zooming for a select few weapons where you'd either scope in, or in Halo 2 and newer at least, you could use binoculars. Now, the game features two multiplayer categories. Warzone, which is pretty much boring trash that's not fun to play whatsoever, and Arena, which is similar to classic Halo games in the sense that it consists of 4-on-4 matches on maps which are smallish with default game types. However, Halo 5 features only 8 game types. That's right, only 8. Remember when older Halo games came loaded with game types and then variants of them? At least the game comes with 15 maps though. The game features a new microtransaction system where you can pay real money either in the form of Xbox Live cards or your mom's credit card to unlock content and one-time use cards in game, something older games never had in the Halo franchise. It's a perfect way to give more money to 343 Industries in case you want to be the biggest Halo fan ever. The HUD features a symbol-based kill feed, replacing the player-killed player kill feed from older Halo games, and it no longer says you killed in the kill feed, opting to make it a different color instead. It also features a bar that allows you to see exactly when your shield will regenerate. Not every HUD feature Halo 5 has as a dumb decision, however. Halo 5 features hit markers and a pretty good directional damage indicator, and that's about it. Now let's talk about what this game lacks. The game lacks both split screen and LAN mode, two of the things that put Halo on the map in competitive gaming. Not only does Call of Duty feature both these features, but even the Master Chief Collection features split screen at least. It did, however, apparently lack LAN mode, and this was pretty obvious when even tournaments were having connections drop, which was a huge embarrassment for 343. Split screen can also be a good marketing tool. Let's just say your neighbor has a PlayStation 4 or a Wii U, and you want them to go buy an Xbox One so you can play Halo with them. With older Halo games, you could have them play with you using split screen. Now, you just have to hand the controller to them and watch as they play random people online, which is nowhere near as fun, and they can't play with you unless you buy another Xbox and join in a party. Split screen co-op is also missing, which is a critical mistake. After all, Halo is known for split-screen co-op, and it's easy to see why. Compared to Call of Duty, which has had only 2 modern games in the series with campaign co-op, World at War, and Black Ops 3, Halo's co-op feature gave the game additional replay value, and all of the Halo games since 3 have featured both online and split-screen co-op, while the original Xbox Halo games featured just split-screen. Now, what's 343's excuse for this? Frame rate and graphical quality. 343 Industries is so concerned about pushing more polygons on screen and hitting that 60 frames per second that they cut out one of the major features that people bought Halo for, split screen and LAN. Gone are the days when your neighbor or friend could come over and play some custom games. It's either go online or put in your Call of Duty or Master Chief Collection disc instead. Now, it's clear that many gamers online love split screen too, and earlier on in the console generation, many console warriors for a certain brand were bringing up split screen a lot. Many PC gamers have also complained about games lacking split screen when the console versions of the same game feature it. If gamers want it, it should be in it. I mean, just take a look at the Amazon reviews for Halo 5. There are a lot of 1-star reviews from people complaining the game lacks split screen and LAN. And in fact, while I was playing the Master Chief Collection waiting for Halo 5 to install, I ran across at least one lobby with split screen players in it, actually a few of them actually, and it's not uncommon to see them on Call of Duty as well. The game also lacks joining in progress, lacks any sort of map voting and vetoing, and prefers to penalize people for quitting instead of, adding features that every other developer has, such as joining in progress. I mean, the engine isn't incapable of it, and even the PC versions of older Halo games could do it, and to me, this just reeks of a poor decision by 343 Industries in an attempt to present the illusion that the game is competitive. Adding no option to veto or vote for maps is just plain stupid as well, in an era when every game allows you to already. The game also doesn't hold lobbies together once a game is over, while Call of Duty, Battlefield, and even older Halo games such as Reach allowed you to. Ping counters are still missing in Halo 5, despite it being a required feature several years ago. Even games such as Halo 2 featured ping counters, while this new shiny game on the Xbox One doesn't. It's not a console limitation, since not only do quite a few older games feature it, but even Call of Duty Advanced Warfare supports ping counters on the Xbox One, along with Black Ops 3, which even gives you a ping chart in the settings. Emblems make a return in the game itself after being heavily neutered in the Master Chief Collection. However, armor customization is still heavily limited. Compared to 3 and later Reach, which had a much deeper armor customization system, armor customization is heavily restricted in 5. You can only customize a few things about your armor and that's it. Traditional big team modes are gone from matchmaking, at least in Halo 5. Gone are the big levels suited for capture the flag, complete with vehicles and plenty of equipment needed to take down a vehicle. There are smaller maps, however, that feel like a Call of Duty map or smaller Halo MLG map. Actually, even Call of Duty maps feel bigger than that of a Halo 5 map. The game now runs at 60 frames a second. However, animations frequently run less smoothly, as if you were playing Halo 1 on the PC. Textures can sometimes pop in, sometimes there are frame rate drops, and the game employs dynamic resolution switching to try to hit 60 frames a second, giving you more blur sometimes if you're on a 1080p display. While this wasn't as noticeable on my low resolution monitor, there have been plenty of complaints about this online. The art style and sound effects are similar to that of Halo 4. So none of the sound effects you're likely to remember if you played older Halo games are there. There is no file share in Halo 5 whatsoever, however theater mode does make a comeback. This is a disappointment to anyone who remembered them from Halo 3 and how well Halo 3's file share was set up before the servers were moved to 343. In fact, I actually went to check some friends' profiles and I couldn't find a file share. Thankfully, however, one removed feature that isn't a bad thing are loadouts. Now everyone starts with the same weapons and abilities in an attempt to put every player on an equal playing field like older Halo games attempted to, with every player being on the same map with the same starts and everybody trying to get the weapons in certain parts of the map. In the end, Halo 5 has nothing that distinguishes it from any other generic shooter you'd find in a corner of Xbox Live Arcade or in the bargain bin at GameStop. The Halo franchise has gone from being the leader of the genre on consoles to becoming yet another Me Too game that you'll likely forget about in a few weeks. Just about everything that distinguished Halo's multiplayer from that of other franchises such as Call of Duty, Battlefield, and the like is gone, and now they've also added features such as a sprint button to make it feel even more like the other games. If you own an Xbox One, skip this game. If you want a Halo game on the Xbox One, get even the Master Chief Collection, maybe Reach 2 since it's going to be on the backwards compatibility list. And there are much better shooters on the Xbox One as well if you don't mind a shooter that doesn't have the word Halo on it. And if you really want Halo 5, just wait till it's in the bargain bin. I mean, it'll be a few months anyway and you'll find a bunch of copies of this at GameStop. And honestly, Halo 5 is just another example of why you should listen to your customers if you're a game developer. Gamers have been begging for features like split screen, and Halo 5 lacks them. If you don't put features in your game that gamers want, and especially after a disastrous game, they will likely wise up and stop buying your games, cause who knows how much longer the Halo franchise is going to last with games that either just shit and broken, or bland and generic. Because even when I was having fun in Halo 5's multiplayer, I couldn't shake off the feeling that I have played this a million times before. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more.